Greetings, fencers. So I actually recorded this video and then realized the wind was way too bad and you couldn't hear that much. So I'm just going to say it over the voiceover.
Greetings, fencers. So today I want to talk a little bit about distance.
So I wanted to talk about distance. We generally see three types of distances. We generally see the zu fechten, to the fight, or pre-fencing as it's often translated to. And this is everything outside of distance leading up to it, leading up to the Vorschlag. And then we end up seeing the Krieg, or the war, or the bind, which is sort of this middle distance where we end up doing our techniques. So after we've stepped and we're close enough that we can hit the person with only a small step or no stepping. And then we have close distance, durchlaufen, running through and coming in close to grab. You want to make sure that you're not reaching out, that you can grab someone easily and comfortably, and that you're not overextending. And so these three distances. Now, one of my favorite ways to look at distance is actually not in the German system. I think it's from a later Spanish source, but it's splitting the distance into 4 directions. Now, the reason I really like it, it's great for when you're starting out learning distance, when you're really wanting to focus on what you can accomplish at different distances, because it really shapes how you fence, how you train, and how you approach the fight. So 4 distances, the first one being out of distance. You simply can't reach your opponent unless you take a very big jump, but they can always see that and react to that. Then is at distance, or perfect distance, where you can hit your opponent with just a step. They can see that step because it's a quite a large motion, so they can react to it, but you're in range where you can hit at the good distance where they can't hit you easily without doing a large motion, and you can't hit them easily without doing a full step. Then we have in distance. In distance is the most dangerous out of them. It's once we're in a range where we can actually strike without stepping. And this is where you can hit them, but they can also hit you. This is where double hits are going to happen. This is where you can hit faster than a human can react. You're going to be able to strike fast with just the arms, with just leaning, or just a slight increase of the front foot. And staying in that distance too long is going to get you killed, because you simply can't stay in there. And the last distance, again, being close distance, where you're reaching in to grab. Again, you want to be close enough that you can easily and comfortably grab with force. Your arm isn't just stretched out in front of you and not really able to control your opponent. You want to be able to get close to actually impact hard with close quarters.
Now, how does this shape how you're actually fencing and practicing? Well, we see this in distance being where you do not want to be. Although it's where you can hit your opponent, you do not want to be there for more than one motion.
Now, we do see a lot of pretty and nice looking exchanges done in distance for multiple steps, where people are staying in and having lots of pair riposte and back and forths done multiple times in distance. Now, that is relying on guessing and feeling as you're entering into distance. However, if you're going to deal with your life, and it's life and death, you are not going to be dealing with guessing when you're in that distance already, because if you guess wrong, it's over. So instead, we have 2 choices. One, we either exit back out, and that's where we get the onset withdraw. Doesn't matter if your cut hits or not, you get back out. And we see this described in multiple manuscripts. The other way is that you go hard into close distance. You're going through the danger zone into a range where now strikes are very difficult to be completed in a lethal manner, and that you're entering into grabbing, you're going to be striking with pommel, hitting with the cross, and entering into where people can't just cut off an arm before you even blink. And this is why we see so much grappling in the manuscripts. People are not going to risk their lives by staying in that distance. They're going to go through it. We can see the same thing in fights of anger and emotion today, where people aren't standing at the edge of distance ready to punch each other just continuously. They don't want to get punched. They're going to close in, and we get that clinch hard where people are rushing in through the onset to get close, and we get fully grappling. In the tournament we hosted, I actually didn't want to get struck, and so I approached all my matches like that. And in my first match, almost every single one entered into close combat, because I was always going through the danger zone to get to safety on the other end, safety being wrestling. So in your drills and training, always have this in mind that you don't want to do multiple motions in distance. Practice coming out or practice going all the way through. And if you're not a larger person who can easily wrestle, practice grappling alternatives. There's different types of cuts that are used for close range, and start trying to get out of that danger zone and into one of the other options. Now, obviously, if your opponent's moving backwards, then they're moving themselves out of distance, and you can start using different types of techniques and not just be trying to force into wrestling or back out.
So that's a little bit on distance, the 4 distances that I generally use and help shape my fencing. So thanks for watching. Keep studying, keep practicing.